Yeah, thank you, guys. A topic, even though I live in Bombay, I'm a South Indian boy, born and brought up in Cochin. So DC felt that I should moderate this panel because we are partners, me and Deepak. So I live more than him. I actually live that life every day of my life of concerts and festivals, being with him. Interesting panel because South is we always say it's a completely different animal, guys, right? I think a lot of them want to explore South, but it sometimes gets very complicated. So I'm going to straight away start the session. We are again very tight on time. Uh, I'm going to set the context and then I want each of you to quickly give a overall feeler of what the market and the landscape of South is, right? So we'll start with, I'll set the context by saying what South Indian movies was 5 years back or 10 years back to what South Indian movies are today is a very different animal altogether, right? It's really defining the business of films. South is actually defining it at all levels: revenue, story, script, popularity, global appeal, everything. Would South see a revolution like that or India will see a revolution like that where the South live industry sets the benchmark for India to grow in the live industry? So I'm going to set the context. I want each of you, I'll start with Arvind. Uh, just set the context quickly saying, what do you think, what is South altogether? I know it's 5 states, the complications, so context setting.
Check. Thank you. And thank you, Deepak Chaudhary, for Shows of India. But let's talk about the South quickly. And there are two problems that I have. That is, everybody keeps talking about South separately and the North separately or the rest of India separately. That itself is an issue, I think. But again, coming back to the South, it's so diverse, right? It's so diverse on its own. Very difficult. I'm from Bangalore, so I'll say there's Bangalore and there's rest of the South, okay? Or maybe there's Bangalore and Hyderabad and there's rest of the South. It's very, very difficult. And the languages that we speak there, they are so different, right? So we cannot actually club the South as one unit. Look at a Cochin, look at the rest of the God's own country, look at Tamil Nadu, look at Chennai, it's all so different. But every one of us, I think, has found a niche in terms of the live event space, and everybody is doing extremely well. And we're going to talk more about that, I'm sure.
So yeah, so I think market dynamics is very different. South has to be treated as probably 10, 15 countries and look at it differently. We'll move on. What's your take on this whole thing, Supratik? I mean, especially Supratik's from an artist. He's himself an artist. So come from that perspective. I think a consumer perspective and a market perspective has come. Please come from a perspective of an artist.
First of all, very good morning to everybody. This is my first time I'm representing something like this in a panel. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, Fierce. Thank you, Alap, for having me here. So perhaps I am the only one who have serviced Harinder in my media journey and who have been an artist with Saregama where JJ was in the seat. So I guess my journey will be very different from all of you sitting over here because an artist who has felt the need and the pain points, went ahead 15 years back, leaving a steady job to create an empire today, which basically is leading the way in South, from making a mall to a destination to creating a 7th-floor studio, which is donated to India's homegrown artists, because we never got it in our career. So their Roti Kapra Makan or Rozgar is very important, which we started in South, and all started from perhaps the mic test to mind shifts, which I would say, mic testing to shift of mindset, and perhaps from Bangalore to Bharat. That's what my take is.
Great. Thank you. Let's go to the man who's created one of the largest shows in South. We're talking about Mahavir. I think he's done massive concert tours in the South. He's known for it. Other than A. Rahman, I think he's worked with most of the big South Indian Tamil singers / music directors. So what's your take currently on the landscape of South?
Okay, just to make it quite interesting for you guys, to let you know, Tamil Nadu as a whole is a 100 crore ticketing market when it comes to music concerts. Tamil Nadu kind of makes about 100 crores in terms of ticketing market. It's like in which about 65 crore is something which we do all alone. And this is only with Tamil artists, okay? It's not about Hindi, it's not about any other artists which we're talking about. We're talking only about this regional language, Tamil. Now, why am I telling this? Because I just want more and more people who's into different markets who want to expand. We want you guys to come in there. More the organizers, more the event management company, more the kind of money which comes into the economy. Then it kind of makes more sense that the industry kind of starts booming. For example, we are ready to invest in a Punjabi music or a Hindi music or something like that. You just started your conversation with southern movies, right? And especially the Telugu, Kannada, and Tamil movies, they're doing extremely great, not just in their regional states, but also in terms of like not just India, the entire world. In fact, even in case of music, if you see today, Anirudh, he belongs from Tamil Nadu, right? Kiravani belongs from Hyderabad, and we have someone from Kannada as well. So there are music which has gone beyond border. Like that's something there. We have given a lot of respect for a lot of languages. If in case we're able to hear these languages, well, we're pretty sure this is going to be crazy.
So I think what you're trying to say is there's a huge opportunity for non-South artists to actually explore South, because you're right. When we actually look at a tour, Bangalore always comes first, and then there is Hyderabad, consideration, and Chennai, 3. And that's why we stop, right? And, and I think Kunal mentioned that places like Cochin, Coimbatore is all evolving. So I think there is a huge opportunity in South on this front from an artist perspective, not only from South, but I think pan-India artists and international artists as well. Sai, I'll come to you. The man, his logo is right here, Hyderabad Talkies. I mean, doing shows and some of the biggest in the Hyderabad market. Let's focus a little bit on, when I say Hyderabad, I say Andhra and Telangana. Let's focus on that market. What do you see the potential is?
Firstly, thanks, Mr. Deepak Chowdhury and Shows of India for having us. See, Hyderabad is always a music destination, not right now. We got sensation in 2016 itself. And I don't know why South, at times it becomes the topic that there's a music growing in South, but it's already developed. It's already been one of the destination in India. Sensation happened in 2016, and after that, the music scenes have gone in a different scenes. And thanks to our government of Telangana, where they come up with a space where they give multiple infrastructure, could be stadiums, could be venues, and could be permissions. We have policies in place if we are trying to execute things in a way. And especially for Hyderabad, thanks to our government, because we have many artists who've been there, and we have given the best shots in the country. And we feel that this is the music destination going forward as well. And it attracts a number of artists, not just the Indian artists, as well as the global artists. And
give me, okay, Hyderabad, I get it, okay, and there is probably Vizag coming up. What are the other places in Telangana, Andhra you see a potential? Might not be 20,000 people, or might be for regional artists, but even 3,000, 5,000 buying audience. What are the other markets you see?
Yeah, there's a switch over in the transition. Right now, Vizag is coming as, one of the best destinations for the music. And slowly Vijayawada would be coming up one of the place where we can also do a couple of events over there. And in Telangana, we have a couple of tier 2 cities like Warangal, which is one of the best place. And we have a huge, NIT students over there. And we have a huge backing from the government of Telangana as well. Apart from that, there are a couple of tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities where we can make game in way where we can have bouquet events, where we can have 2,000, 3,000 crowd. But we have a number of opportunities for the sponsors. Especially for metros, I mean, Hyderabad, Bangalore, we might need, the sponsorship scale more than the expectations. But when we go to tier 2 cities, if I have to put it on numbers, if we have 3 lakhs of sponsors into 10, that's a 30 lakhs.
Yeah.
So the local guys would be more interested to see their logo and see their presence on the tier 2 cities.
Thanks, Sai. I'll move on now to Pradeep. Pradeep stepped in because Srini couldn't make it. From what he said, I think there's an opportunity I think nobody is actually talking about, which is the youth and the college cities, right? There's Manipal. I can think of so many southern cities which has the potential for large concerts, but I don't think people are really focusing that as a strategy. Where you look at so many, there are campuses not only in Tamil Nadu, there's Vellore and there's enough and more. I think those cities can be huge potential for concert and the live business. I think strategy, great. I think a thought that even I didn't realize, and I think there's a huge opportunity there. Pradeep, over to you. A corporate events person now, he made a bold statement to me in the morning today that I've done corporate events for 20 years and now strategically as a company, we've decided in the next 3 years, we are going to completely transition ourselves into the live business. So I think that's a bold statement. So why that, and why do you think? Because I think you're seeing something different than many corporate event companies are not seeing.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Deepak, for putting together such an amazing show. I've been a part of this since day one at Mumbai, and thanks, Namnit, for having us here. Uh, yes, I did make that bold statement to Namnit this morning, but this is what the mantra, what I told my company in January when we had our annual meeting, is the reason why I have decided to move completely from corporates, because the topic which says South India, the next new culture. So every 50 kilometers to 100 kilometers in South, there's a complete culture change. There is a complete culture shift. Previously, all the IPs, big IPs, live concerts used to happen in Bangalore, Hyderabad. Now what has happened, let me just give you a technical bit here. Most of the IT companies are focused here, and the reason why IPs come there, because there is a high disposable income, people can buy tickets and they will attend events. But there is a complete shift post-COVID. People have moved back home, people have moved to tier 2 cities, people have moved to tier 3 cities, and companies like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, HCL, everybody have opened up campuses in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And now people with those high disposable incomes are sitting in those cities too, and that's a new market that has opened up. It's not only Bangalore and Hyderabad or Chennai or Kochi. Today, there is the entire South is a market. Every tier 2, every tier 3 city, there are a lot of people who are ready to spend 5, 10, 15, 20,000 rupees for a ticket and attend. And I'm sure, and I'm telling you here, that any concert that you do, whether it's Hubli, Mangalore, or Warangal, he mentioned, Vizag, all this city, you can draw more than 10 to 15,000 crowd, and that's for sure.
And data actually clearly shows, if you look at the data spending pattern, look at Zomato's general data, Amazon data, the bigger luxury buying is actually happening from tier 2, tier 3, right? Clearly defined. So it's actually a very, very big queue. We've been, Marisha, it's a queue for you as well, that tier 2, tier 3 should be a big topic in Wow Awards for sure, because everybody's talking about it, but we're really not focusing there. I'll now come to some very specific questions. Let me start with the first one, saying, for a promoter who's not based in, for me example, I'm based in Bombay, even though I understand South, but there's X amount of people who might be looking at South. Can you guys define like a roadmap to how to build a concert tour on IP in South, especially from a market segmentation point? Because like Arvind started by saying, Bangalore is different, Hyderabad is different, then you've got a set of other cities. So is there an approach towards understanding how do you plan this whole thing from a consumer segmentation or a city segmentation perspective? So I'm going to ask this to Sai, you want to kind of start with this?
Yeah. When it comes to execution, its experience is what matters to the consumer. Because nowadays, movies are coming onto the mobile phones, but concert is not. Only one concert which we have seen on mobile was Coldplay. But still now, we have consumers who wanted to come for the concerts because it won't happen weekly once. Otherwise, movies will come every week. So that's where they wanted to have the different experience, and that FOMO has been built because of the multiple concerts which are happening in India. And the price factor also plays the crucial role, because in a recent Shreya Ghoshal concert, I just give you an example, we have moved to the central space, which is LB Stadium in Hyderabad. Generally, we look out for Gachibowli Stadium for all the events. So the shift has given us 21,000 crowd, 16,000 sales through Zomato. That was the highest in Shreya Ghoshal's career. That was the biggest concert for
No,
her.
you're saying location made all the difference in
Exactly.
the city?
Location made the difference, and that was the ATP also made the difference. We have decreased the price of the ticket, but increased the volume. Generally, for Shreya Ghoshal, people think that 8 to 10,000 is the maximum. But we got 21,000 footfalls, 16,000 sold by Zomato and District. That was one of the best example which we have done. And recently, we did Keeravani sir concert, where we did an indoor concert. There also, we had volume of 8,000, but the ticket price was little less. So where we could get the music lovers to be part of that particular show, and we can also, I won't say that all the concerts are profitable, but we keep doing the concerts. Once we have the chain coming in, then we'll start seeing the money.
Is South a very price sensitive market?
No, it is not pricey. But at times when we do these EDM concerts and when we go for GMR or Gachibowli Stadium, just because of the business valuation, we had to go for the increasing. And Hyderabad is the best market for the lounge sales. liquor sales.
I'll move on to Mahavir. I want give us let's understand that I don't understand South. I want to build a tour because right now when I'm looking at South after the conversation, I see so much of potential because each state has 6 markets, right? You can go in different scale. How do you approach? How do I segment this market? Either you say okay, there's a Bangalore standing one, then you've got a Hyderabad Chennai clubbed into level 2, then you look at Kochi. Is there an approach to this whole thing?
Broadly, if you look into it, Bangalore is more of a digital space, so you're easily able to reach your target market. When it comes to Hyderabad, again, it's a techie base. Like again, you can reach your exact target market. But when it comes to Chennai or Coimbatore or any other places of the down south, then you start looking at having right partners locally because your digital space alone is not enough. People don't buy tickets only because they see some posters or they see some hoardings or they just see some ads. They technically don't buy that, and it's all about right placement, and then it kind of makes the magic there. That's how it is. South market is not that complicated.
Yeah, it is
It's
not. I think
very
it's just
easy.
in the mind that it's very
Yeah,
complicated.
it's
I think
just- it's-
consumer
it's just
behavior is
been-
similar.
Yeah, it's just because of the language understanding that we still think that they're different and we are not able to catch them. It's just not every fish comes in the same net.
So when you choose you said a very important point that have a partner with you to build it in South. Ideally, because the sensibilities, the cultural understanding might be very different. So if I come to you and say, is that a better strategy? Or is it that I look at, say, I want to go to Manipal. Do I also have a small partner sitting out of Manipal who's locally so entrenched, who's going to make this difference? What do you think is the right approach?
See, for example, I'll give you even more simple example. Imagine if I'm doing some show in Hyderabad. I would first go and approach him. I'll just give a call. Hey, hi, buddy, I'm going to do this. Like, can we do this together? Or can you help me out doing this? Because every language has its unique presence. Like when it comes to Tamil, maybe they would love me. But when it comes to Telugu, they would want to go for Hyderabad Talkies because they know him. Right? That's how the entire South works. It's not
Collaboration.
only
Got it.
I think in the previous session there was someone who was talking about key artist is selling. Right? South is completely different. It's not the artist. It's the
Oh.
organizer who sells.
Is he organized? He's made a very, okay.
Yeah,
The
it's the organizer who sells because like I've been there. I was a kid when I started this, and like I've been in this business for about 10 years, and now they see me as their own, right? Like, hey,
No,
hey,
but that's a journey you've gone through, right? Like a new promoter, it's a tough one. You've got a brand image. I know in Chennai, concerts is your company and your name, understood. But from a new promoter, that might be a difficult thing to build on their own reputation, no?
for a new promoter, yes, that's the reason I'm telling you should start partnering
Collaborating,
with or collaborating with us. No, everyone has their own strength, right? Like
Got it.
maybe I have a strength of connection with the local people, but I might not have the similar strength what Zomato or a Book My Show has. Like
I'll just quickly ask Pradeep, you want to weigh in on this from your perspective because you understand consumers more than anybody else probably in this panel because you've done so much of corporate eventing in South. So any perspective?
I totally agree with you, and that's a good example that we give in that. For example, I come from Dakshin Kannada called Mangalore. I've been in Bangalore for the last 26 years. Even though I know that entire region very well, or even for that matter, we've done an event in Hyderabad, Vizag, all these places, still it would make a lot of sense to collaborate with somebody who is there local, because other than all the platforms, the digital marketing, Instagrams of the world that we use, but still a local appeal is required for us to do any kind of event, whether it is in terms of logistics or whether it in terms of reaching out to a larger audience across all age groups. To social media, we are targeting a certain age group. But if we are doing an artist for which our target audience is say from 20 to 60 or 70, then yes, we need a collaboration. It might be just 200 kilometers away from the city, but still we need a local collaboration.
So I think clearly this comes across as if anybody is looking at South, collaborative approach is the ideal way to go forward. Fine, these guys, gentlemen are going to be here. Please, whoever wants to build that market. The second thing I think very important what Sai said is, when we program, I think this is applicable everywhere, the location is the key, right? Even if you do in Hyderabad, there are Gachibowli as an option, but come as central as possible. And I think every state government is trying to support the concert economy. So I think that's great news. I'll move on from here. We have 10 minutes, so we'll kind of hurry it up a little bit. I think this is for, a subculture, right? I'm a Malayali boy, you know, and I've seen this evolution of subcultures. You know, I don't know if anybody has heard of these singers called Vaden and Maniac, right? And there is so much of subculture in music happening across the South. I'm going to ask some of you guys from an artist specifically. Hanuman Kind is one of the biggest examples of, you know, how he used global appeal music, which is rap, but when it's rooted heavily on the Indian culture, his music videos show out the positivity. So it's a very important thing that, do you think that from an artist perspective, can South become national and global appeal? Right? What is Punjabi music? Let's go to Punjabi music right now. Punjabi music is no more belongs to Punjab. It's a global phenomenon now, right? Do you see this progression from an artist perspective, content perspective, that South is also going to evolve into that way? I'll start with Supratik. I think from an artist perspective, I'll can start with you.
I guess from the starting of Alive India, what we always thought was emerging and established and fresh and famous. We always divided our concerts into two parts, wherein first part was city's talent, which was very, very focused, artist first. And the second part was the bulldozer, who will basically drive the numbers and all that. But we were not very focused from the day one on the numbers. Our thing was purpose, very clearly. And that's how we have built a sanctuary for the musicians. But what I would say, it is not about one language. India is a multilingual country. So whenever we go for a college fest, we have a set list of around at least 12 songs, which is 12 different languages. Top 10 for sure. That's the success of Usha Uthup. She is a Padma Bhushan. That she has lasted for 40 years, 50 years on stage. We were in half pants. She's still ruling the thing. Her entire Vanakam, Sasyalakam, Sasyakal, Salam Alaikum and all that stuff, it works. So whether it's a Tamil Nadu, I will have more focus on Tamil and less focus in perhaps Hindi, Bollywood and Bengali. When I go to Bengal, then my focus will be first Bengal, and then that's how in our entire studio, which is Mr. Arvind has visited, he knows it from the day one. We build this ecosystem which is not dependent on a sponsor, neither it is dependent on anybody in the earth. It is artist's own place, which is like a sugar to all the people over here, that we are building tomorrow's India, which is not pricey like a Honey Singh or even a Coldplay, but it is tomorrow's India wherein a new Michael Jackson really can be created, because they stay there, they be there, and we are investing on them to create multilingual India.
No, I want to ask you, see, what happens in today's world is not about great talent, it's about perception on Instagram also. So do you also look at it, are you doing something to build that in an artist character?
Yeah, so what we do, we go to campuses, and there's a community which we are trying to create for the last 3 years. First of all, we took a lot of shake when COVID happened. As you know, an artist-driven company, which basically is not funded. 3 years was 2 years, 2.5 years was very big. Our first initiative was to build destination, which we started doing with Phoenix. And today Phoenix has become a case study, because mall music we started at 2010 to this 2025. Second was to build an ecosystem. Third is to now build music leaders who stay in the studio. So right from Christ College to your RV College to various parts of the country, people are coming from Zika and all to become music leaders. Because unless you have, a Navneet of tomorrow, you cannot manage artist of tomorrow. So we also have one part which is management, who stays in the studio, lives with the studio and artist. That marriage partnership doesn't necessarily has to be a Honey Singh and Yo-Yo and Saregama. It can also happen with a grassroots level and then basically emerge.
No, it's very inspiring when I discuss with you also. His whole system is actually starting from grassroots level, training, support, marketing. So he's built an whole ecosystem around artists. I think if more and more people do that, we will always have a funnel of better artists to come. So thanks this. I'm going to jump into the next question. This is, I think everybody's been talking about monetization, sponsorship. IP sponsorships and monetization. Is there a difference in the mix in South when it comes to the revenue mix? Right? Is there, when it comes to sponsorship, F&B revenue, we know the larger ICE and ticketing. Does the metrics has changed? What is the metrics in South? What percentage is sponsorship? Arvind, I want to start with you.
So the mix on the So as usual, I think 50-60% would be on ticket sales, right? And that is how high it would be in the South. And why is that? Like Pradeep and me were discussing a little earlier, the South Indian actually does not need that free ticket as compared to.
Cultural, yeah.
It's a big difference. Like yesterday, the Honorable Minister was talking about this, and we were saying that, hey, in the South, people do not mind paying that 10, 15, 12,000 rupees for a ticket, right? Yeah, and which is absolutely fantastic. So that's 50-60%. 25% would come from sponsorship.
Anybody wants to argue this in the panel itself, or because
Hyderabad is different. I'm talking back. I'm so sorry, but this is where the disruption is, right? Yeah, so it's quite a disrupted market totally. I mean, we have Kannada hip hop that is coming up, but I'm going to come to that in a minute, right? Which is becoming highly big in Bangalore, right? And it's working very fine. The Phoenix Market cities where Supratik does a lot of work, right? It is running today on, I believe, a Kannada hip hop, right? We have the venues in Bangalore. We have a Terraform. Recently, the Bride Adams happened over there. 19,000 people were there, right? At Terraform. And we have young Rishi over here who's an investor in Terraform. And we have a lot of venues like this. Om has put up the dome over there. Venues are there. People are there. Why did GNR not happen in Bangalore?
because we are scared. Bangalore, sometimes we say it's jinxed only. Something goes wrong all the time in Bangalore.
No, matlab, somebody has to take the risk.
Ask Shaju about it. Shaju will talk about it. Okay, let me move on. You want
Just to add to what Arvind said, yes, ticket sales definitely are great in South. But at the same time, I think my panelists would agree with it. We have some great brands from South, whether it's Purvika Mobiles or Sangeeta and so. They're like big brands. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it, but they guys come like in complete support of any kind of concerts that you create, and they'll give you a complete South India, all 5 states, they'll give you a support. These are very, very big brands. So it's not necessary at times for us when we're doing live events that we look for national brands, but a South Indian brand would do more, whether it be Pothys or an RMKB, all such brands, they
real
come
estate,
forward.
I think, is a big category in
Yes.
South. Okay, Sai, you want to add?
Real estate is a big market in South. And at the same time,
I wanted to start with the ticketing. Is what Arvind said was 60% is ticketing. Is that the metrics? And I think he's given a valid point that free tickets thoda kam ho jaye compared to other places. You might not agree with that. But is that the mix?
It is a mix, but size of the free tickets is different. But when it comes to the sale of the ticket, it depends on the artist. As I said again, it depends on the venue. One artist might sell more than 100% through the ticket sales. One artist might sell only 60-70%. But cap on the sponsorship remains 30-35%.
35%. That's a better number than most of India.
Yeah.
Because I think the dependency on sponsorship is at least 50-50 as per my understanding in other
coming
parts.
to sponsorship, I have one statement. We generally tend to send the deck or whatever the proposal based on the scale saying that 1 crore, 1.5 crore for the title sponsor, but we end up again asking them to give 20-25 lakhs the moment we are closer to the concert. Initially itself, if you're coming up with the deck with a proper number which is clearly valued and which is approachable for the brands, we have a scope of having multiple brands coming onto the board rather than they, getting afraid after seeing the numbers. That's the, magic at times works with the brands.
Anybody wants to add in any point of view?
I want to, sorry sir, so we have this component of F&B, the food, which I think is about 20-30%, at least 20% in any one of the concerts that is happening.
Is that, you guys want to validate this?
On this, we did not do any concert with the liquor because we wanted to invite family crowd. Though we had Arijit Singh, though we had Sid Sriram.
One second. Okay, so you mean to say you put liquor?
No. For us, we have never served liquor in our concerts. It was a liquor-free concerts, all the 7 concerts.
That was a conscious call.
Yeah, we wanted to promote the families and we also wanted to promote the way the concert culture is. And that has been also been little, influenced by our government as well. So
Still you made money?
Yes.
Wow. Interesting.
Same with us also. Music first.
Okay.
We never had dependency on things. Surrogate was there, of course, but not pouring.
Okay, understand. So, Mahavir, you want to, is this mix
Okay,
60% on ticketing revenue?
There are 3 things which I would like, I'm not telling that I'm not agreeing to, but there's something which I would like to add with the personal experiences which I've had in the past, and I'm pretty sure Sai would agree with it. Like he said, he just included his topic that we don't sell food, we don't sell liquor. That's not a major revenue contribution in our shows. We are trying definitely to push merchandises now as a brand strategy, what we have brought in now. The majority revenue comes in from ticketing. You're right, but it's not 60, but actually it's about 80-85% of the revenue comes in from ticketing, and that 85% of revenue is actually the profitable revenue which we put it on books from that. For example, if I start speaking about Harris Jairaj, I don't think many of them would know. Right, like they will just say, who's he? Like even Shankar Raja, they would not know. But Harris Jairaj ended up getting 32,000 people in my show.
Yeah.
Even Shankar Raja got about 35,000 people in my show.
And they have, I think some of these acts of South has potential globally because there's such a large, I mean, I think Andhra are one of the biggest communities in, I mean, Telangana, Andhra, and
So
Telugu.
I'll just quickly sum it up. So, since all these kind of numbers are not something which everyone is educated about, they don't know, right? Like when they come to South, even the brand doesn't know. Like, yes, of course, we have the regional brands. The regional brands are the ones who actually kill the sponsorship table. Like you said, they make us bend our knees to accept the smaller numbers like 25 lakh, 20 lakh. And I've stopped taking sponsors for last 3 years. I've stopped taking sponsors. Like the 20, I don't need it. It's okay. I'll take the burn for a while. I'll rather invest in this market. I'll rather create a different economy, and then maybe we'll look into it in the future. So the interesting fact, if you're coming in South, please be ready. For the next 5 years, you might end up burning your monies. But then from 6th year, you'll start taking that back. And that comes in a very big way.
So be patient in South, and I think 85% sponsorship is global standards, yeah. I think you should do a masterclass separately on how this 85% is happening. Okay, so we've run out of time, so I'm going to skip a couple of questions and move on because I think next speakers are ready.
Yeah, I mean, anyways, we are summing up. I just wanted to thank, the way the ticketing platforms are supporting, be it Book My Show, be it Insider, and be it Zomato Live, which is now District. They are the major support when it comes to the smaller IPs or maybe the smaller concerts. And they also drive the force behind with the kind of transition which they have taken after post-pandemic. And that is one of the main reason. And in a way, I want to sum it up saying that South is always a destination for music. We have 2 Oscars from South. Beyond that, we have Ilayaraja sir.
Bhavir, next frontier from South, do you think something from South is going to be globally relevant from a live event perspective? What do you think is the next?
South is already globally relevant. A.R. Rahman, he's from Tamil Nadu. Yeah.
What is the next frontier?
Ilayaraja.
There's Hanuman Kand. I think he's become globally.
I think I'm seeing Anirudh coming up.
Anirudh.
He's going to be a huge charm. And then I'm seeing Sai Abhyankar, who's coming as a new kid on the table.
Deepak must be already on call to lock the shows.
Yeah, so DC sir, मैं इधर ही हूँ. किसी को call करने की जरूरत नहीं है.
वो अभी भी call पे होगा, अभी close कर.
So I think from July, I would rather expect my people here. Like I don't know most of you guys in terms of personally, or I had a good time with you guys. Thank you so much for having me here, DC and Alap especially. Thank you for the last minute call, and thank you so much. It was a great one. Maybe we'll have another meeting.
Yeah, we should chat up.
You.
So Pratik, quick.
Yeah, as I've said, multilingual, multi-genre, because 2 of the cities of whole country is in Bengaluru and Hyderabad, Manipal, wherein student communities from all over the country comes here.
Right.
Entire country's working population mostly, like Bengal is completely into Bengaluru. So therefore, you need to have multilingual, multi-genre, flexible, multi-sized, because you might do 2 Daljit Dosan or maybe 1 Sid Sriram, but your bread and butter will come from homegrown artists.
Homegrown artists
and inclusive.
Multi-city, multi-scale.
नहीं, because एक बड़ा concert में आपका 6 महीना चला जाता है.
Correct.
So lesser stress, more partnerships and more work. दाल रोटी चलना चाहिए.
Correct.
See, the nice part about the South is that the youngster is still culturally skewed, right? So you may have a 25-year-old bunch of people who are going for a 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock to Ranga Shankara to watch a Kannada play, and at 6:30 in the evening they're going to a Brian Adams, right? So they're doing a coffee and Ranga Shankara, and they're doing whatever else at Brian Adams. So the culture is very important in the South, and the youngsters, thanks to the parenting, etc., are quite culturally skewed.
Correct. I think reports also say that how much ever we feel the generation is different, they are actually culturally rooted with a very modern outlook. I think we are dealing with a very different target audience here. Thank you, gentlemen. I don't know if there's any question we can take. Probably, if anybody has any questions, we can take it. No, and Deepak says no. So that's it. Thank you, gentlemen. Sorry, we had to hurry it up. We skipped a few things, but thank you for being here. Thank you.